Hi, I'm Philip Arthur Moore from HOTCROSS, and this is 26 Questions with Philip.
Hi, Philip. Thank you for taking the time to join us for this 26 questions interview today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's get this started. Question one, what is HOTCROSS?
In short, we're basically an application playground. You can come to us for single-sided staking, launch pads, NFT minting and staking. There's a ton of real cool stuff that we do, like yield optimizations, cross-chain bridging. We kind of do it all, but in one playground. So we do encourage anyone listening to go to app.hotcross.com and you'll get to see all the fun things that we do.
Each project has its interesting stories before it is created. Can you share with us the story that gave you the motivation to build and develop this great project?
Yeah, thank you. We actually started about 13 to 14 months ago. And to put a long story very short, we started out as a cross-chain bridging project where we were bringing tokens over from Ethereum to Binance Smart Chain and to other EVM compatible chains. And at that time, we realized, oh, there's going to be a lot of hype and a lot of attention around new blockchains. So why don't we put a lot of focus on that? And that's what led us over to Binance Smart Chain and other blockchains like Avalanche, Harmony, and Polygon, and all the blockchains that you see now that are pretty popular. So we've been working for about 14 months, 15 months really. We expect that we'll be around for quite some time.
Which is the proudest milestone HOTCROSS has achieved so far?
Biggest thing for us really, and I don't want to sound cliche, but I would say that we've been able to acquire, I actually don't like using that word acquire, we've been able to find a really, really strong community base organically. We did not start out advertising who our investors are. We didn't talk about VCs. We didn't talk about this sort of things that don't matter. What we really did was lead with a product first focus. And so what that has done for us over the last really 6 to 7 months has allowed us to find a very strong organic community that's probably going to stick with us whether we're in a bull market or a bear market. So we're really excited about that.
Many projects start with a good impression and then they abandon the project. Is your project different from others? How powerful and safe is your project?
Well, I think there's two answers to this. The jaded response is, of course, I can say, yeah, most of the projects in this space are garbage, but that's kind of mean. I won't say that. But I think what makes us a little different is we started out non-anonymous. We started out with 6 audits from the leading security firms in the industry. Now we've got about 50 audits over our product suite. I mean, it's very, very hard to run away from what we're doing. So either one, the project is going to fail because we didn't find really good product market fit, or two, the product is going to really, really succeed due to having strong lasting power in the market. So in terms of safety, we do tell people never all in, always be careful. DeFi is risky. However, look, I mean, we do spend a ton of money and a ton of time on security audits, and that's something that we really do put our reputation on, and we hope everything works out. So we're about as safe as you'll get when it comes to DeFi leading projects.
With the current market condition right now, what is a watchtower solution during bear season for users and investors to hold a token of HOTCROSS and not sell?
I always lead off these types of questions with, not financial advice, but in terms of what we can do as a company is, one, we've got enough runway to last us at least another 24 months, meaning that it's really irrelevant whether it's bull or bear for us as a company. We're still able to build. That's no problem. The core basis of any token on a market is that you really want it to have strong utility. If the team is over-focused on a token, then it's going to be really bad. If a team is under-focused on a token, it's also going to be really bad. So our focus is constantly building as much utility as we possibly can around the use of HOTCROSS so that people actually use it more than they think about how much it costs. And therefore, you kind of create this natural demand for the things that you're building. So our focus is twofold. One is we've got enough runway to last us for a few years, so we're good. Two is we just need to keep on increasing the utility base for the token, which already is very strong. It really won't matter what's happening in the market otherwise.
Which area are you focusing on at the moment? DeFi, stake, or GMs? And what are your goals for this year and next year?
A big focus area right now and really leading up into the next 2 weeks is technologies around non-fungible tokens, both ERC 721 and 1155. This is concepts like NFT minting, NFT staking, how to make those interoperable between different games, how to sort of look into concepts of augmented reality and virtual reality. And in Q1 of 2022, we're still going to dig into that because it's something we've been interested in for the last 6 months. So I think that will be a big area of focus. I don't think we're going to try to catch a trend that's too quick. What we'll do is sort of, watch and see if something really sticks, then we'll probably tackle it aggressively.
Nobody can guarantee the security of a smart contract. Audit plays an important role to find out the known bugs of smart contracts. Can you describe how strong your security is?
Well, we've been around since we've had mainnet smart contracts up since April this year, so for the last 8 months. At this point, we've had about $1.6 or $1.7 billion of asset flow of HOTCROSS itself on blockchain. We've had around $300 to $350 million of asset flow through our platform of just the staking module. The IHO modules, the Launchpad modules, we've had around $40 million of asset flow, 80 million if you double it for the inflow and outflow, plus including the projects that launched through us. So we've had a ton of money come in and out of our platform, and everything's been safe. And on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, we've had about 6 security firms audit pretty much everything that we're doing. So we do think that we're safe. I will end that by saying, please, always exercise caution. Always be super, super diligent and super safe with any platform you're interacting with, especially when it comes to DeFi, because DeFi is risky and we're still in a new wild west here.
Do you think the presence of whales is necessary at this early stage, or do you intend to focus on smaller investors? How will you strike the balance between whales and small investors?
Whales are amazing. They're incredible. Whales are the people who bring in TVL to your platform. Whales are the people who bring in liquidity to a market. Whales are needed. Anyone who says that whales are not needed, they're just silly. Whales are fantastic. At the same time, whales aren't really your users. The users are the people with $1,000 here, $500 here. Users are sort of the lifeblood, the oxygen of an ecosystem. So we do try to cater to both. If we do a fundraise, we try to make sure whales get a piece. We try to make sure that fishies get a piece. We try to make sure that everyone's important. So both are important approach because each segment caters to an entirely different market need.
HOTCROSS has a lot of use cases. Can you share with us what are you most focused on and what brings the highest revenue for HOTCROSS?
Revenue for the platform itself usually comes from things like registrations on the platform, which come at a fee, things like staking on the platform where teams have to give us an allocation to allow our community to stake on for that. If you're using HOTCROSS as a user, you can go into IHOs, which allow you to get new tokens from new projects. You can also stake. You can also do things like liquidity provision. There's really all kinds of things that people can do with it. It just depends on who you are and what you want to do with it. But either way, there's probably going to be a way for anyone to figure out how to use it and utilize it to the best of their abilities.
Marketing is at the heart of every project, so it's important to let people know its potential. What is HOTCROSS' strategy to attract new users and investors to your platform and retain them for the long term?
So there's 2 ways to do this. One is you do hype marketing, where it's just, simply you hire people who are going to hype you nonstop. We found that to be somewhat okay, but what's really worked out for us is to ship. We've really just shipped nonstop. Almost 12 months consecutively. We have more products than probably 99% of projects on market, and we just keep shipping and shipping and shipping and shipping and shipping. And so I do think that in 2022, we will go back to a sort of hype marketing style approach where we do get people to focus on things that we've built to bring in more people into our ecosystem. So it's a little bit of both. 1, you build, you got to have a product. 2, you've got to have interviews like this. You've got to have people talking about you. It's a 2-pronged approach, so we're comfortable there.
The biggest barrier for DeFi is that of interoperability, providing cross-chain interactions and multiple blockchains. So how does HOTCROSS solve these problems?
Yeah, so as mentioned, we started out as a bridging project. That's the basis of how we start everything. Our primary token is actually on Ethereum. We just happen to have a lot of activity on Binance Smart Chain. And we also have the equivalent of our token on Avalanche, Harmony, Polygon. We could branch out to KuCoin Community Chain, Hecko. It really doesn't matter. So for us, it's all about people being able to go to bridge.hotcross.com, take our token, go from here to there, and be able to go wherever we're going. So there might come a day when we stop developing on Binance Smart Chain and we stop developing on Ethereum only or Avalanche only. So we kind of have that baked in from the start.
Why did the HOTCROSS team do so many audits on your products? It's very unusual. I see all of these audits on the cross pool and wonder why you did so many of it.
Two reasons. One is because if people are going to put in 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million into your platform, we want to make sure that that's safe. That's quite a lot of money. And we just want to make sure that we have extra eyes on the work that we're doing. We're confident in what we build, but it's always good to have experts also looking at what you're doing. The second reason is because we're not anonymous. Again, as I said, our reputations are just as much on the line as these auditors. And the third reason, the final reason, is because not everything we do is open source. And so people want to feel comfortable knowing, were you reviewed by someone who is important in this industry? So if we're working with people like Certic, Dealscene, SlowMist, Omnicia, and all of these top dogs in the industry, PeckShield, then people should feel confident that we're doing the right thing and not messing about with our code.
Nowadays, NFT gaming projects are trending and there are so many NFT gaming launches right now. Does your project have a plan for NFT gaming?
We do, but it's more from an infrastructure level type of gaming. So for example, we have this NFT mint drop happening probably in the next 7 days or 6 days. And that is the first sort of genesis of us launching out our own NFTs into the space. And so what we'll be able to do there is take that and see, okay, where can we plug it in? Which games can we plug it into? We can make our own games. We've already done a couple in-house. How can we apply those to not just one game, but two? So I don't want to get these isolated entities. For example, you make one game and you just have NFTs for that game. I want to be able to take NFTs and put them in this here, so that you're sort of in this sort of multiverse with NFTs so that you can use them any way necessary. So we are definitely headed that way. I do think we'll dive heavy into that in the next 3 months.
HOTCROSS develops many products, which is an advantage as it can meet almost all the needs of the users. However, does developing many products make management difficult? How do you ensure the quality of all HOTCROSS products?
This is a really good point and something we've been talking about internally. We have two choices. One is that we make a product that is going to be unified, almost like an ecosystem. So if you go to, for example, MEXC.com, or if you go to any exchange, well, there's about 10 or 15 different products for users, and it's all about just exposing those products and showing them to users and being happy. It's kind of how we approach it. The other approach is, well, we just turn those sub-projects, those products into their own projects, and that also takes a lot of upkeep. So either way, you're going to run into a problem if you're building a lot of upkeep and management. But the way that we've done it is just keeping a unified UX, a unified UI, one place for people to find everything that you're doing. And I think that it's working so far. We'll revisit it in 2022, though. I do think that we'll have to branch out some of those products into their own sub-projects.
How do you think people will use HOTCROSS in the future?
Primary goal, at least on my end, is to be almost entirely permissionless. So the goal is we start out centralized, then we go kind of semi-centralized, and then you get to a point where people don't even need you to do things for them, and they can just come in and do every single thing that they want to do themselves. So for me, I do think that it's going to be less hands-on and more hands-off. Probably end of 2022, beginning of 2023, I do want to see us almost entirely permissionless. That would be the goal.
Cryptocurrency is quite popular in the Southeast Asian market like Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia. Does HOTCROSS have any plans to approach these countries?
Yeah, in fact, the reason HOTCROSS had traction in the very early days was because we had about 20% of our user base, or 25% if I remember correctly, come from Vietnam. And that's because I'm located in Vietnam, a few of our staff are located in Vietnam. And so what ended up happening was we naturally attracted a great user base from that country, as well as Philippines and Indonesia now. So for us, we do feel like Asia is a target market, including Vietnam, including Russia, which is also in Asia. And then really what we're looking for in 2022 is a sort of Western approach to what we're doing. So we'll see how things play out.
How does HOTCROSS evaluate the importance of the user community? In the near future, does HOTCROSS have any special plans to attract and expand the community?
The importance of user community really cannot be understated or overstated, rather. Community is not always your users, and users are not always your community. So what we want to do is two things. One is we bring the people who are using your product into the community, and two, you bring your community to your product as much as possible. So that's probably the most important thing to us as a company, is just making sure that our community and user base are one and the same and steadily grow time and time and time again.
Can you tell me the progress of the HOTCROSS project?
Yeah, progress is going well. As mentioned, we've probably put out 10 to 12 different products on market in the last 12 months, and we've got about 2 or 3 more products lined up for the next 4 to 6 weeks. So it's just steady going along. You know, our motto is just don't talk a lot and just ship as much as possible. We are admittedly very serious people, and we don't really kind of mess around too much. So we're kind of quiet. We just ship nonstop, and that's how we say it. That's how we speak, basically, is by shipping.
Partnership is essential for adoption. Can you tell us who your partners are right now and in the future?
We've got quite a bit. I mean, we've had partnerships with these fantastic companies like ApeSwap. We actually IFO'd on PancakeSwap, BabySwap, Cryptos, Treasureland. We just did one with MoonPod. There's a company called Frontier that we did partnerships with. I mean, there's kind of too many to list. The whole play for us really on the partnership front is to reach out to as many projects as possible and say, how can we help each other? What can we do with each other? And so I do think that next year we'll also be digging really heavy into this aspect as well.
All right, we're down to our last question. Where are the best places to buy your tokens? Is it too late now for us to buy?
I'll start with the second question there. I don't know if it's too late or too early. I will say it's never too late to become a part of our community. Whether or not you actually buy HOTCROSS or not doesn't mean that you cannot be part of our community. So I would say it's never, ever, ever too late to become part of our community. We welcome absolutely everyone in, whether or not there's someone who's buying or holding our token. That's not a prerequisite to being a part of our community. Right now, we are on PancakeSwap, ApeSwap. We are on MEXC, which is fantastic. We are on KuCoin. We were a Spotlight project, and many other decentralized exchanges like Trader Joe on Avalanche, Uniswap on Ethereum, and a few other centralized exchanges, which we just listed on over the last 2 or 3 days. So we're in a lot of different places. I would tell anyone just to go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko and look for HOTCROSS.
All right, thanks for answering 20 questions from the community. Now it's your turn to ask our fans 6 questions. Do you have the 6 questions ready?
I do.
All right, let's hear it from you.
First question is, how many products does HOTCROSS have in its total suite? How many products do we have? The second question I have is, which auditing firms looked over cross yield, which is our yield optimization product? How many firms looked over that? You can find that on GitHub as a tip. The third question is, how many vaults do we have on cross yield right now? That answer may change based on when you actually hear this recording. The fourth question is, do you need KYC to join our Launchpad projects, even though they're DeFi and on-chain? The fifth question is, what is our mascot? What do we call our mascot? The HOTCROSS mascot. And finally, I will say, what is the name of the first NFT collection ever from HOTCROSS?
Awesome session. Thank you for the questions. We hope you guys liked the interview session with Philip. For fans whose questions are selected, please claim your rewards as per instructions in the description box below. And for those who want to participate and win bonus USDT, simply answer the 6 questions that Philip had asked, comment your answers below, and we will pick 6 lucky winners. Thank you once again, Philip, for coming onto our show. Till the next time, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Bye, Philip.
Bye. Thank you so much.